Well, the weekend has come to an end, but we do not end things here. So today we're going to be doing, of course, four reviews from three different promotions. The first one is from ChocoPro with their much recent event number 460. Now keep in mind some matches are preliminary matches for title matches and possibly grudge matches. And then of course we have two back-to-back events, of course, coming from WWE. The first one is of course NXT, the Great American Bash. As you know, this happened recently around the same time as AEW All In. So we're going to see if there's going to be any title changes or anything else from A to Z. And then of course we have WWE Evolution 2. It's been what, since 2018 since we see this. This is going to be one hell of an event. So I can't wait to review this for all of you. And then finally, Stardom just had their much recent event in Fukushima, which is the hometown of Ami Sohrei. So a lot of things could happen, but some matches, just like I said with ChocoPro, are preliminary matches for upcoming events taking place real soon. And then of course we have a very short news updates, mostly coming from developments that we're going to be talking about. So let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestles.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us, so click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers, let's get to it. So, our first review, let's begin with ChocoPro. Alright, ChocoPro number 460. This took place recently this past Saturday, of course, in Ichigaya Square. Opening the show was none other than Chiko Shikawa, who, if you guys remember, recently got injured in a training, during training, and was unable to participate. So I'm pretty sure she's out from that. However, normally when it comes to the opening in recent weeks or months, the current general manager, Aoi Kizuki, was the one normally doing the opening, but she, who has done this before, well, she did it. So of course she did the usual greeting and of course the usual giving the info of the entire show. Now let's begin with our first match. Our first match, we have Hiroi Yawada teaming up with So What? Shonchiru taking on Kaho Hiromi and of course Balin Aki. Now of course it's no secret how things could be in this type of match when it comes to Kaho, she is the least experienced, but also the youngest and smallest individual. I mean, she is capable of taking care of herself. Hiromi is also in the same kind of predicament, but she is about a few months ahead of Kaho, if you guys know what I mean. But of course, the aggressiveness will be coming from both Chon and Balanaki. But because of that, it led to, of course, what's her name? Hiroi to pick up the win when she applied what I think looks more like a magistral on Takaho, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, you can say this is part of a preliminary match for the upcoming Asian Dream Tag Team belts. Now, if you guys remember, there was a number one contendership for those belts on the much recent event with numbers 463, I believe, in the Tokyo Square. And it resulted for Hagane Shino and, of course, Sawadi Kamen to pick up the win. So this time you get like a bit of a preliminary. You have, of course, Sawadi Kamen taking on Sayaka, one half of the tag champions. So basically, you can consider this a preliminary match. However, the real question is, who's going to build up the momentum until their upcoming title match? Well, you probably would presume that Sayaka, personally, I have witnessed her grow up a lot. But unfortunately, it did not do any well because it was Sawadi with the crucifix onto her that gave him the win by 1, 2, 3, and just like that. But however, during post-match, well, Sayaka was not too pleased at the fact that she lost in this way. Now, of course, people would say that she's being a sore loser. No, she's frustrated because she's supposed to be stronger. That's always been the case. And I'm not defending her on anything, plus it's the way people are. But that's how it is. Our main event, we have Soy and Miya Yatsuba taking on Sayaka over here, or as we know her, Obi, teaming up with our current Super Asian champion, Mei Suga. Now, if you guys remember, in the last ChocoPro event, Miya, on the other hand, pinned Mei Suga. So there is the strong possibility we will see those two clash for, of course, the Super Asian Championship, but it's still unclear when or where, because I'm pretty sure it's going to take place at one of their bigger events, and we are yet to hear from the general manager to see that. But however, of course, you would ask yourself, Mia may have picked up a win against her the last time, but the question does remain, can she do it again? That's an obvious thing, and I'm sure May hasn't forgotten that loss one way or the other, but she has to be more careful on this one. However, she was very close on 2 occasions of losing, but May was able to prevail when she, of course, pinned Soy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Mei Suga picked up the win, getting the momentum she needs for their upcoming title match. Now, for Anjankin tournament, we ended up having, of course, our winner, none other than Chiko Shigawa. Well, she may not be able to wrestle, but she was able to participate in the Jonkin tournament. However, if you guys ever didn't notice, if you guys ever get to see it, she had to use her left hand because she's a righty. It was her right arm that, so basically she was out, but she was able to pick, and the runner-up for this one was none other than Miya Yatsuba. So we'll see how things will progress in ChocoPro, but as of right now, we'll end things here with ChocoPro and move on to our next review, and that is, of course, NXT, The Great American Bash. Okay, NXT The Great American Bash is one of their big events that we've known. We open up with Javon Evans versus Jasper Troy. Now, as you all know, Jasper Troy has not been in a good mood, knowing the fact that he could not defeat Obafemi for the NXT Championship. Now, Javon Evans was being a guy who was impressed by his skills and all that, but Jasper Troy was not having it, so he attacked him a few times. Even Javon Evans did the same thing. But however, Jasper Troy continued to try to hopefully get another opportunity. But the real question is, you ask yourself, how does Javon Evans going to overcome a guy who is big and strong? But the one thing that was so crazy is that he applied a German suplex onto Jasper Troy, and just like that, he was able to pick up the win off the turnbuckle, and just 1, 2, 3, just like that, it's over. So the young OG was able to pull it up. Now, our next match is for the NXT Women's North American Championship. We have Izzy Dame versus Sol Ruca. Now, of course, Izzy Dame has made a play for this belt regardless, but of course, Izzy Dame is not alone. Keep in mind, she made a new friend with Tatum Paxley in hopes that maybe this is a chance to pick up the win. However, that did not go according to plan because Zarya took her out. And just like that, when the confusion took place, Sol Ruca was able to apply her infamous finisher, the Soul Snatcher, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match is the NXT North American Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, for those who are not familiarized with this type of match, I know you know the title, but the match, the Falls Count Anywhere, it means you can pin this person anywhere. It could be in the bathroom, it could be in the parking lot, in the park, the pool, the dumpster, wherever. So basically, that's where the entire match went, from the ring to the audience to the back, all around like going crazy. And of course, there was that one moment they bump into Jasper Troy, and I'm sure he was not in a good mood whatsoever. But you would have assumed that Ricky Saints will do whatever it takes to regain this belt, but nope. Ethan Page was able to apply it when he applied a Ego's Edge off the stage, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the belt. Now, Ava, our current general manager of NXT, was in the ring as everybody are witnessing the contract signing for the TNA World Championship that will take place this coming weekend. As you know, Trick Williams will defend it against Mike Santana and Joe Hendry in a three-way. So of course everybody said their piece. They signed their dotted line until all hell broke loose with Trick Williams, and they got put through a table by Trick and Joe. However, both Trick and Joe were attacked by none other than Dark State, once again causing the rampage, not only in NXT, but also in TNA. So anything could happen. But we did see, of course, later on, Trick Williams talking to Ava about he's pissed that he got through a table. But Ava will say, you were the one who started it. But however, this coming week, you'll be teaming up with Joe Hendry and Mike Santana to deal with Dark State. So that's going to be a very interesting moment. Now, there was a moment, of course, where earlier in the day, Stax's NXT Heritage Cup was stolen, and it turned out to be Tony D'Angelo that stole it, and he actually showed it and tossed it in the river. It kind of brought me back to that time when Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, stole The Rock's Intercontinental Championship and tossed in river with the stuff that scuba people wear. I mean, the scuba tank, the goggles, the fins, the breathing tube, and all that. That kind of reminds me a little bit like that, but without that. So if you guys know what I mean. Now, our next match is for the NXT Championship. Yoshiko Inamura versus Obafemi. I have to say, this is one of the biggest house fights I've ever seen. I mean, Inamura, he is a crazy SOB, no matter what. But Obafemi is also the kind of guy, you know, he is determined to protect his realm, and that's exactly what he's been doing. Unfortunately, Inamura came up short when of course, Obafemi applied a pop-up powerbomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 was over. We did see Obafemi talk about his match, and then Yoshiko wanted to talk, gave him his respects, and then Josh Briggs showed up. So pretty much Josh Briggs is going to aim for the NXT Championship, so that may look like happen, but we'll see what happens. Now, our main event, we have, of course, Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe taking on Fatal Influence, consistent, of course, of Jay-Z Jane and Fallon Henley. Now, of course, remember, Jordynne Grace will be challenging for the NXT Championship the following day in Evolution. So the real question is, who will be coming up on this one with the momentum? That's always been the case. But of course, factors of this match is Jasmine Nix, who will be on ringside watching this and making sure things will go exactly according to plan. However, things didn't go according to plan when Masha Science took out Nix, and that gave Blake Monroe the DDT onto Jay-Z Jane, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Monroe and Grace picked up the win, and just like that, it was over. But I can't wait to review you guys what took place, of course, in Evolution. So I believe we should get to that right about now. WWE Evolution 2. Man, it's been what, 7 years or so since we had this event? And I think many people probably were wondering, will we ever see it again? Well, looks like it has, because I have to say it was a pretty good show. Now, let's begin with our first match. Our first match is for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. We have Bayley versus Lyria Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Now, of course, I have not been following that much what's been going, but what I do know is Lyria Valkyria was the Intercontinental Champion until Becky Lynch was her tag partner and then stabbed her in the back. You know, all this and that. So, of course, when it comes to three ways in these type of matches, you know perfectly well anything could happen. I mean, Bayley could pick up the win, or Lyria, or once again, Becky. But the real question is, who was going to walk out? Like, you probably would think in some moments, Bayley would have been the one that picked up the win, or Valkyria. But however, Becky Lynch was able to retain the belt when she applied, of course, a backslide onto Bayley, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she retained the championship. Now, our next match is for the NXT Women's Championship. As you know, Jordynne Grace won number one contendership for this match, facing against Jacy Jayne. Now, however, this has an implication for this coming weekend. Whoever walks out as the winner will be in a winner-takes-all match in TNA's Slammiversary, facing Masha Slamovich. Now, of course, it's no secret about Jordynne Grace's past that she's a former TNA Knockouts World Champion. So she probably will have nothing more to obtain this belt once again. However, Jacy Jayne, as you know, recently had made her presence known, and she wants to obtain this belt for herself. But the one thing she has to do is get through Jordynne Grace. Now, of course, Blake Monroe was in Jordynne's side to ensure everything will go well. But don't forget, Jacy Jayne has fatal influence by her side as well. But, of course, the one thing that stunned us the most is Blake Monroe, who actually stabbed Jordynne Grace, and allowing, of course, Jacy Jayne to pick up the win with her little fist. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, I don't know what this means. I asked myself, is this a possible way where she wants to get the title for herself? Who knows? But there has been talk recently, and if you guys remember, there was a report about the possibilities of turning heel. I mean, we have seen her do that already before, but I didn't think it was going to happen this soon, but who knows? Now, our next match is for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles in a four-way. Team number one, we have, of course, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus Zarya and Sol Ruka, versus Charlotte Flair and Alexis Bliss, versus the champions, the Judgment Day, what's her name? Oh yeah, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Now, of course, when it comes to four ways, you know that this is predictable. It's still unclear how it's going to happen. And of course, like any other match, technically, Judgment Day doesn't need to be pinned or submitted. They just could lose the belt, will probably not win or lose the match, but they could lose the titles completely. So anything could have happened. Now, Kabuki Warriors, we know they have an extreme reputation with these belts before, but the real question is, could they do it again? Nope. Apparently, it was Raquel who picked up the win when she applied the Hana bomb onto Sol, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So they retained the championship. Our next match is for the WWE Women's Championship. Of course, we have Trish Stratus, who we all know pretty well, a well-recognized women's champion in WWE, versus the current champion, Tiffany Stratton. Some people can say they're almost alike. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but Trish will always be someone we all got behind, stood behind with throughout these years. But it was Tiffany Stratton who in fact was able to pick up the win when she applied the pretty moonsault ever, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But during the post-match, we did see, of course, people were saying, thank you, Trish. You know, I mean, I don't know if this is like her final match, but if it is, someone please let me know. Our next match is a no holds barred match. Now, of course, this is one of those matches where, of course, anything goes, that sort of thing. This is we had special guest referee Bianca Belair, and the match is between Naomi and Jade Cargill. Now, if you guys remember, it was Naomi who attacked Jade Cargill that allowed them, of course, Naomi and Bianca to become tag champions. So there's been, of course, a lot of issues between Naomi would do whatever it takes to derail Jade Cargill to ensure that her life will not succeed. But unfortunately, for those who know I did not see Money in the Bank. Naomi is the Miss Money in the Bank, so that kind of puts her in a way. But she's trying to ensure Jade does not find success afterwards. But you know that in every capacity that Naomi will do whatever it takes to dismantle her to ensure she does not achieve any goals. But in the end, it was Jade who did that when she applied a avalanche Jaded through a table, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done, just like that. Now our next match is a battle royale who will be facing for the WWE Women's Championship at, of course, at Battle in the Castle or something like that in Paris, I think, or Clash of the Castle in Paris, something like that. Yeah, I remember. Now we had wrestlers, of course, like from the NXT brand, SmackDown, and Raw. So there's been a lot of people, but interesting enough, we did see, of course, Julia and Stephanie Vakir doing this. But I mean, I can tell you how this one turned out. It went up to, of course, Stephanie and Lash Legend. Now, of course, Lash, in my opinion, she could have picked up the win herself if she had to. But in the end, it was Stephanie Vakir who walked away with the win by eliminating a Lash Legend. And just like that, she is at the top of the game. I think many people could see she could win the championship, but we'll see what happens. Our main event, this is a bit of a rematch of the making between these two for the WWE Women's World Title. Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Now, many people know Io Sky has been the one to defeat Rhea Ripley on multiple occasions. But the real question we ask ourselves, can Rhea Ripley do that? We know their history. We know that either Io could walk away or Rhea can finally have that opportunity to say, yes, I finally defeat Io Sky. However, those plans kind of come to an end when out of nowhere Naomi took advantage of the situation and cashed in her opportunity of the title and applied a leg split moonsault onto Io, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Naomi is the new WWE Women's World Champion. So that kind of ruined the plans for everyone. I think they wanted to see who was going to walk out on top. But in the end, we did see, of course, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Probably they did not get the win, the ending that they would have hoped for. But who knows what's going to happen. So we'll see what goes around in their lives from here on out. And we'll end things here. But right now, let's move on to our last and final review, Stardom. Okay, last review, Stardom in Fukushima, which is, of course, the hometown of Ami Sohrei, I believe. And of course, she will be in the main event. And this was one of the much recent event. Now, keep in mind, there are some preliminary matches that we'll get to. And our first match is one of them. We have the Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurara and Aya Sakura, taking on God's Eyes, Yaka Kotatsu, and Hina. Now remember, Hina is the current future of Stardom champion, and her challenger, who recently issued the challenge, was Sayaka Kurara. So you would make that as a preliminary match. So the real question is, who will walk out as for the momentum of this match? Now, Hina, of course, we know she has the necessary experience to defeat, of course, in this preliminary match against Sayaka Kurara. But one thing that was interesting is how this match ended. Of course, it was, of course, Kurara with her usual the Tokimeki spear onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, we did see a post-match promo with Kurara talking to Hina. Now, Hina did mention that she will be out for a little bit till their title match due to her exams. So she'll probably will see her sooner or later. But of course, she mentioned in a post-match comments that she felt like her lights was taken out by that spear for Kurara. So you got to ask yourself, does Hina now consider her as a threat? Who knows? But we'll probably see that at some point. Now, our next match, we have Akira Kuragani representing Mi Vida Loca, taking on Cosmic Angels Yuna Mizumori. Of course, this one you probably would think Yuna Mizumori, who has more experience than Kuragani, was going to pick up the win. But of course, Kuragani, as you know, who's been learning under the tutelage of Suzuki, would have picked up the win in some capacity. I mean, she did pull up some impossible matches, but with Yuna, that was different until she applied, of course, the TP Sunshine, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Emma Maeshima teaming up with Koguma. Some of you may ask, where the hell was Suzuki? Well, she was at Pro Wrestling Wave. She's involved in the Catch the Wave event. I also forgot to mention that Natsupoi and Sayonara were not present due to their trip to China. So, just forgot to mention that. But anyway, they face against Neo Genesis, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid. Now, nothing too special about this match whatsoever. We know that Kid will be defending the white belt against Sayori Anu, but this one had nothing too special about it. But you would think in some capacity that Neo Genesis were definitely going to pick up the win due to the fact that you have one factor of this is, of course, it's Maeshima, who has the least experience. I mean, she did show a bit of her skill set, what she can do, but it was not enough when it comes to Starlight Kid when she put her in the Black Tiger leg killer, and just like that, she had no choice but to tap. Now, our next match, we have Kikyo Furuzawa taking on Natsuko Tora. Of course, when it comes to Natsuko Tora, she is the type of person who doesn't give a damn about anything. Of course, she was going to win since she has the better experience, but in the end, it was Natsuko Tora with a big splash onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, we have EXV, Rian, Hanako, and Waka Tsukiyama taking on Stars, Momokogo, Saya Ida, and Hana. Now, nothing too special about this match whatsoever. But of course, because of their recent developments within their factions, they keep facing each other all the time. But in the end, it was, of course, Hanan once again with the usual Hanan special to pick up the win onto Rian. So, don't know what's going to lead. We do know that, of course, Hanan and Saida are the current tag champions, but still unclear who will be picking up the win. Now, our next match, you can consider this one also a preliminary match. We have, of course, Mi Vida Loca, consistent of Bozilla and Suzuki, taking on Neo Genesis, Mei Sita, and Azumi. Now, remember, Bozilla, since she first debuted in Stardom, she is initially targeting the New Japan Strong Women's title. So Azumi has to put up her A game against her. And once again, of course, they face off each other, former tag partners, Mei Sita and Zuzu. If you guys recall, Zuzu betrayed Mei Sita and formed Mi Vida Loca, and that's what led it. But in the end, it was Bozilla once again with her power and strength onto Azumi with the sit-down powerbomb that allowed her to pick up the win. And of course, during the post-match, Bozilla make it clear that she's going to win this title, and of course, hopefully win the 5-star Grand Prix. So we will see that coming up soon. Now, our main event, we have the members of Hate, Konami, Momo Watanabe, and our current Red Belt champion, the killer herself, Saya Kamitani, taking on God's Eye, consistent of Lady C, Saki Kashima, and Ami Sohrei. Now, of course, Kashima has no love lost for neither members of Hate. More specifically, of course, Konami for betraying Shuri. So I'm sure that she would definitely love nothing more to get even with her. But of course, Hate has targeted Ami Sohrei for a specific reason. If you guys remember, Ami Sohrei was out of action due to an injury, and now they're welcoming her back by trying to injure her more. But last time they fought, they got away with it with their usual ways of cheating. But this time it did not work because Ami Sohrei picked up the win onto Konami, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, during the post-match, Ami Sohrei addressed the fan base, as you know, since she's now back home, and I guess everybody's happy how it is. But what's funny is, once everybody left, we're leaving the ring, Lady C wanted to carry Kashima, but was like, nope, that's reserved for Shuri. Lacey will never get any love from Kashima, but that's how it goes. So we'll see what happens. So I think we're done now for all our reviews. So let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, we're only going to focus on developments on here. Now, many of you saw what happened All In. Adam Cole had to relinquish the TNT Championship due to he wasn't medically cleared. Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful Select, reports that the reason behind the relinquish is because of a concussion. Now, apparently there's been talk about that he might have got the concussion during a match with Kyle Fletcher where he might have powerbombed them at the edge of the apron of the ring, which everybody knows. If you guys are wrestling fans or just wrestlers in general who knows exactly what I'm talking about, that's one of the hardest parts of the ring, which is no joke. And that might have led the reasons, because remember, according to the report, on Saturday, that's when Adam Cole was feeling a bit wheezy about how he was going. So basically, a concussion is not a joke here. So what was necessary, he had to relinquish it. So that's the main reason, and this was the decision that they had to pull him out. So, but yeah, so we'll see what happens to them. Now, as you all know, recently I mentioned that Kevin Von Erich signed a Legends deal with AEW. Tony Khan himself, as you know, was interviewed at Hollywood Reported, talking about now that Kevin Von Erich is in fact a coach for AEW, along with his sons too. So basically, they're helping out the younger generation. So it's cool to hear that Kevin Von Erich's knowledgeable in pro wrestling is becoming useful. So that's pretty cool to hear about. Now, our final update, there's been talk recently by certain people in the entire wrestling world. If you guys saw what happened in All In with the patriarchy, it imploded when Nick Wayne actually betrayed Christian Cage when he applied the kill switch and leaving him on the ground. And then, of course, they were about to do the concerto onto him. And that's when, of course, we saw the return of Copeland. Now, there is something else that many people may have been overlooking. Why is this happening now? Anybody can guess? Someone actually spoke out a fun fact truth. Where is the next pay-per-view going to take place? AEW All Out. If you can guess it, in Toronto, which in fact is the hometown of both Christian and Cope. So most likely we could see those two reunite to take on FTR. So that's one of the most interesting things we could definitely see. If they're steering in that direction where Christian and Cope reunite and they take on FTR at All Out in Toronto, then that is the most possible logical thing that we could expect from them. So we'll see what happens. If that is the case, we need to be more careful and, of course, pay attention to everything that goes out here and out before All Out. So stay tuned for that. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to be reviewing. Now, as you all know, I've mentioned a few times in the past that I am, of course, trying to catch up with many of the Yoshi Wrestling events. I am still behind on that, but we'll see what happens until then. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to wing it on the next episode. So, until then, I will see you guys in the next CW time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.